Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just finished watching Child of Kamiari Month, which was animated by Lidenfilms and made entirely through crowdfunding. Now, with that in mind, this film apparently came out in Japan back in October and has only now been released to Netflix. And with an all-star dub cast, including the voice actress who voiced Young Powder in Arcane, we are given a film that does feel like a classic Ghibli film, and when it comes to its themes of sadness, dealing with the death of a family member, and learning to move on from tragedy like that, albeit with a supernatural twist. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story focuses on a young girl named Kana who recently had to deal with her mother passing away, and naturally she's lost her thrill of running after her grief gets the best of her. But on one day, when she happens to run away from school after a particularly emotional experience, she finds that her mother was actually partially a deity, or at least the descendant of one. So, she's given the duty to gather food known as chiso for the gods at their summit. Along the way, she also befriends a spirit that inhabits a little rabbit named Shiro, who's voiced by Lucy Christian in the dub, and she also happens to befriend a little demon boy named Yasha, who's voiced by Mark Allen Jr. in the dub. And the trio goes around Japan, going from shrine to shrine, collecting these various offerings, all on the way to get to the gods' gathering, so Kana can find a way to see her mother one last time. So yeah, this story does feel like it has all the ingredients to be a really emotionally affecting experience, and at times it really is. But it does also feel like the story has to go through a bit of padding in order to reach a 1 hour and 40-minute runtime. Mainly in the way that it happens to use a certain character who shows up near the third act, really just to trick Kana in a scene that doesn't feel like it has to be there, and to give the third act a little more tension where it could have had more if it developed Shiro and Yasha a bit more. Because the only character in the film who really feels like she goes through any real development is Kana herself. Granted, said development is handled pretty well, and I do like the way they handle her emotional journey in the third act. It's just going through the more physical part of it that isn't always that thrilling. On top of that, the animation is good for the most part, especially considering the crowdfunding budget I bet was not as much as you'd expect for a normal animated film. But while there are some scenes that are basically stills, such as a marathon race at the beginning, some other parts of the animation, such as the different gods' designs, the comedic moments, and definitely some parts of that third act, really are animated quite well, and it does show that Lidenfilms can be quite talented when they're given the proper time and money to make something look good. So yeah, it's definitely a film that won't be for everyone, and honestly, I think that if you compare it to the Ghibli films, it's honestly on the lower tier of those, though not the lowest tier. Though, if you're looking for a decent little film to watch with a family, to spend an hour and 40 minutes of your time, you can certainly do worse. That's why I'm going to give The Child of Kamiari Month a 7 out of 10. See you next time.